Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How you guys doing out there? James here. Um, yeah, hope you're doing fine. I have some video here, and it's about where I live at in Ohio, particularly this city, that they putting up a fight when it comes to this ICE operation. And I'm going to show you some actual news footage that we have a problem with housing. And not only that we had a problem with housing, we're going to show you the history that they had a problem with the Somalian community using these funds here in Ohio. And then the silly part I'm going to show you about why is that the city council and the mayor is protecting it. Meanwhile, we have a housing problem. Let me show you the housing problem in Columbus.
With AI, you can create a realistic clone of yourself in just 10 minutes. You can use this clone to make viral social media videos without setting up a camera, lights, or even
I always say, imagine OSU Stadium on a game Saturday filled to capacity. We could fill that stadium 5 times with the number of people in Franklin County who struggle to make ends meet on a monthly basis.
Hi, I'm Mike McCarthy, and today we are here in Franklinton talking about one of the most pressing issues for the city of Columbus right now, and that is the need for housing, and not just that, but affordable housing. As we get into this conversation, make sure you let us know what you think about all of this. Leave a comment below and also hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any time we share new content. Joining us today for this conversation is Michael Wilkos. He is the VP of Community Engagement with the United Way of Central Ohio. Michael, thank you very much for talking with us today.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to talk about one of these important issues.
So let's start first and foremost by talking about why we are talking to you. I think a number of people may be not confused, but asking themselves, why are you talking to the United Way about this? Housing is something that is central to your mission when it comes to this reading focus you guys have.
So we are 100% and solely focused on success by 3rd grade because the research is very clear. Well, young children learn how to read by 3rd grade, and then in 4th grade you read to learn. If you've not made that transition, you will struggle throughout your academic career and likely not be able to take full advantage of the economic opportunity in Central Ohio. One of the reasons why kids are struggling in school is because of housing instability. So our largest single investment is in the shelter system because we want to make sure if a family with children loses their housing, that their shelter stay is short and they get into new housing very quickly.
What's your assessment of the housing situation here in the city of Columbus? Mayor Andrew Ginther has said that he believes 200,000 new units need to be built over the next decade. Do you think that that is the need?
It is the need, and I'll put into perspective how the demand between house availability and households has shifted. As recently as 2010, we had 107 housing units for every 100 households, giving us a relatively good housing market, meaning there were 7 viable housing units in the market. That's apartments, that's for sale product, giving people a pretty good selection by price and tenure. When you get to 2020, that went down from 107 to 100 to just 102 for every 100 households. We're on track to only be at 96 housing units for every 100 households by the end of the decade because of the chronic underbuilding within the housing market. So Mayor Andy Ginther has really raised the bar to say this is the level that we need across the metropolitan region, and within that, the city of Columbus has committed 100,000 of those 200,000 units to be built within the city.
When you talk about the underbuilding that's happening, that has happened at the same time that the population here in Columbus has gone up.
Yeah.
Who do you know is moving to Columbus?
So it has shifted. If you look at the period between 2010 and 2020, about half of our growth was just due to more babies being born than people passing away. 24% of that growth was people moving here, generally from within inside the state of Ohio. And then 26% of our population growth was new Americans. Since 2020, and because of COVID, that ratio of births to deaths has shifted. At this point, just 29% of our population growth is now due to babies, and 69% of the growth, or actually 71% of the growth, is actually due to new Americans moving into Central Ohio. And we are now a metropolitan region that is losing American-born individuals. I have a theory on that, and that is when you look to see who's most likely to move from a nearby city of Dayton, Cleveland, Detroit, Akron, Youngstown, those those tend to be young people. Those young people in the smaller markets in Ohio that aren't doing as well economically now look at Columbus's housing costs and they worry as to whether or not they can afford it. So we're in this weird middle spot where for immigrants coming to the United States, Columbus is still a value in the marketplace compared to big East Coast and West Coast cities, but Columbus is no longer a value in Ohio, so that in-migration from within the state has really come to a slow. And so now, since 2020, 71% of our population growth is due to new Americans. That's the largest percentage that new Americans have been of our growth in the modern era.
So that's the population side of the equation, and those are interesting thoughts about who's moving here and
Yeah.
why. Do you have any explanation or any insights on what's caused the underbuilding to happen?
Well, the underbuilding has got a number of reasons. Part of it is about finance availability. Part of it is about the ability for developers to get things through the approval process. We have an outdated zoning code. The city of Columbus has taken a hold of its zoning code on the commercial corridors to up-zone those commercial corridors, where previously to last July, the major thoroughfares in Columbus were zoned for 6,000 units of housing. They're now zoned for 88,000 units of housing. So what the city is saying is, we need to accommodate a lot of growth. Let's put a lot of that growth on our transit lines. So zoning has been an issue. Resident pushback, or what I would refer to as the not in my backyard. I think there's a lot of people who believe we need housing, but when a particular proposal arises on a particular site, then you get a lot of people that say, I just don't want that there. And then there's the ability to get financing.
Let's talk about specifically affordable housing.
Yeah.
That's a term that gets tossed around all the time. We're actually here in Franklinton because we're standing outside McDowell Place behind you, which is an affordable housing development here in the city. What does affordable housing mean, first of all?
Well, technically it means 30% of your income, okay? And so we don't want people to spend more than 30% of their income for housing. Let me break that down. If you look at who's experiencing poverty, the earned income to establish poverty in Franklin County is just $15,500 a year. So clearly at $15,600, you are officially above the federal poverty line, but certainly not able to navigate the housing market.
And that's for a single individual.
That's for a single individual. For a family of 4, 2 adults and 2 children, the poverty rate is about $32,400. So imagine trying to secure housing with that as your income and establishing that very low bar. There's about 200,000 people in Franklin County that meet that threshold that I just described. We like to use a term called ALICE, which stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained Employed. It's an acronym that really tries to encapsulate what's fully happening for people who are working but struggling to make ends meet.
People who are working, have a job,
Have a
they
job.
are active in the community, but they can't afford their mortgage or their rent.
I'll give you 3 examples of people who qualify for an affordable housing unit that we may not think of when you hear the profession. A registered nurse making $75,000 a year with a child would qualify for an 80% area median income unit, or a general construction laborer at $50,000 a year would qualify for an 80% affordable below market. And anyone who has ever gone out to dinner at a Longhorn Steakhouse or a Chili's, we just came into contact with someone who needs a 40% area median income, because the salary of a cook at a sit-down restaurant is about $29,000 a year. That's what makes the property that we're standing in front of so important, because this offers rents as low as 40% area median income or 60% area median income, and those are very hard to find.
And I want to
And that's the point. And that's what it was made for. But check this out. So this is what we're going on in Columbus. Like many cities, there's a lot of homeless
A
people.
Somali nonprofit in Columbus, Ohio, was under fire for mismanaging millions in relief funds, even as it continues to receive public funding. Formed in 2020 to support the Somali community during the pandemic, Somali Community Link secured over $2 million from the Biden administration. An independent audit revealed significant shortcomings, including over $187,000 in rental assistance funds that were not spent or returned, along with a lack of required reporting procedures. Auditors flagged issues of fraud vulnerabilities and noncompliance with legal requirements. Despite these findings, Ohio politicians with financial ties to the nonprofit continue to secure funding for it, including $350,000 for a community center. State Senator Michelle Reynolds and State Representative Ismail Mohammed, both linked to the organization, have received thousands in campaign contributions from it or its affiliates. As of now, Somali Community Links services remain in question with an inactive online presence and the recent passing of its executive director. The Columbus City Council, Reynolds, and Mohammed have not responded to requests for comment.
Meanwhile, this is the reason why we have a housing problem.
You lost?
Yeah, we're a little lost.
I don't care if you record, this is your one warning. If you follow us again, we're gonna stop you, we're gonna break your window, and we're gonna rip you out and arrest you, okay?
Oh boy. Okay, get ready for this video. Now, recently in Columbus, Ohio, ICE agents were conducting deportation operations. Now, Columbus, Ohio is not typically in the news as far as protesters or mayors or city councilors pushing back against Homeland Security agents, but this time they were.
Our police will not be used to carry out these operations. I want you to know your rights. Remember, create a safety plan with your family and loved ones.
So that was the mayor of Columbus letting everyone know the police will not be working with Homeland Security with deportation operations, but to also have a safety plan. We're going to dig into those statements because a lot of people are questioning what exactly is the mayor talking about. And this is becoming a common theme. You have cities that are operating as sanctuary cities, yet the state is not a sanctuary state. We actually saw that down in Louisiana, where New Orleans said, we're not going to work with ICE. However, the rest of the state seemed to be working with ICE. It looks like we have that same situation up in Ohio, specifically Columbus, Ohio. Now, before we start the video, make sure to please like the video. It's the #1 way you guys are helping this channel, and it also helps others see the videos as well. And I think people want to see what is going on in Columbus right now. Again, we hardly ever hear about Columbus when it comes to federal pushback. Well, here you go. Now they're in the news. Now, before we talk about the mayor, let's talk about what was happening on the ground. Here is a video that is going viral as far as people following ICE agents, according to Homeland Security.
Weirdos. Hello?
No reason you're following us?
No, we're just...
You lost?
Yeah, we're a little lost.
I don't care if you record, this is your one warning. If you follow us again, we're gonna stop you, we're gonna break your window, and we're gonna rip you out and arrest you, okay?
Alright.
This is your one warning.
Yeah, can I ask
You
a
got
few
it?
questions, though? Can I ask you a few questions, though?
What the fuck? Oh, hell no.
Bro, they literally just threatened to rip me out of our car and rip me out of the car.
What the fuck?
Now, for anyone who's been subscribed to my channel, and make sure to please subscribe, you know that is a very common occurrence as far as when ICE agents get followed, they will stop everything they're doing, and they will walk up to your window and give you an initial warning. It's actually very rare for federal agents to immediately rip you out the window and charge you and arrest you. It looks like Homeland Security is being a lot more tactical or careful about those situations, so generally speaking, we always see these warnings initially. Now, speaking of warnings, a lot of clips just like this were coming out of Columbus, and that's how we know there was some pushback against these Homeland Security agents.
Okay, Hilliard, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, Ohio in general. ICE is in Hilliard, Ohio. Sam's Club, Myers, Tim Hortons, Hilliard, Rome Road. It is very icy out there, Hilliard, Rome Road.
As soon as ICE is spotted or there are operations happening in your area of the country, it spreads like wildfire. I mean, there are TikToks being made, Facebook posts, Reddit posts, and it just blows up. Everybody starts to find out, and then we also start to see clips like this, where protesters get on the ground, and again, they start to push back. These are protesters in Columbus who apparently somehow found out where ICE was staying, allegedly, and they were keeping them up at a hotel. Again, we see this all the time, but I'm just trying to show you guys, this is a common pattern as far as the sequence of events. Like ICE is in the area, okay, we need to push back. We see this all the time, and that's what we cover on my channel. reality of the situation. We are in uncharted territory when it comes to sanctuary policies in Ohio, and I'll explain in a second, but I'm going to let the mayor and the police chief talk about not working with ICE.
Hi, I'm Mayor Andy Ginther.
And I'm Police Chief Elaine Bryant.
In light of the deployment of federal immigration and customs enforcement agents in our city, we understand that many of our neighbors may feel concerned for their safety. Please know that we stand with you and everyone who calls Columbus home. Sherlock?
Sherlock.
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 Sherlock? Sherlock Holmes, sir. It's an unusual name. I've secured you a place at Oxford.
Oh, sorry.
Ask me something.
Sorry about that. Oh my goodness.
Our city will not be a vehicle for discrimination or fear. Hatred, xenophobia, and bigotry are not tolerated in Columbus. But I'll stick around for that, but out of respect for the leadership.
Leaders now addressing what the city says is federal operations happening right now within the city.
The mayor, chief of police, city council members, and others were speaking in front of a packed room just a couple of hours ago. I want to thank you for joining us right now on this busy news night here. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Yolanda Harris. Now, the meeting comes just hours after Mayor Andrew Ginther and Chief Elaine Bryant posted a video regarding immigration and customs enforcement agents in Columbus. Now, we're going to begin tonight with live team coverage on the city's response.
At First to 10 TV's Libby Cathy. And Libby, you were at that meeting downtown. The mayor was very clear that federal agents must have a reason for being here. Does he know that reason tonight? Did he tell you?
That's right, Jeff. Well, there's a lot of information still to be uncovered here, but what Mayor Andrew Ginther did say tonight is that federal authorities did not give city officials any heads up of operations being performed here. Ginther did say his commitment to the city is to share information the best that he can. Now, he also wants people to know that Columbus police are here to keep you safe. He wants people to know what their rights are, how they can be supported, and he says the city has a commitment not to spread misinformation. He says the city will continue to update its website with information and resources, and overall, he just wants residents to feel safe.
Today, my message to every Columbus resident is this: you are valued. You belong. My commitment is unwavering. We stand with you and we support you today and every day.
And now we have reached out to Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement for more information about the operations taking place here in Columbus. We have not yet heard back from them, but once
I just pulled up a story. I want to show you guys something. What's going on? You know, it's just, this is crazy, man. It's like they go out their way for these people, man, and it's like they have no idea what's going on. People out there just, they out there just talking crazy, protesting about.
The Muslim community in Central Ohio doesn't want to be in court. They want to be practicing their faith.
Now at 11, the Noor Islamic Cultural Center filed a federal lawsuit against the city of Hilliard today. Good evening to you. Thanks for being with us tonight at 11. I'm Kerry Charles.
I'm Colleen Marshall. The lawsuit comes after the city rejected a zoning change for a vacant building that had been purchased by the Noor Islamic Center.
Now, the building is the former BMW office space on Britton Parkway, which has been sitting empty for nearly 2 years now. NBC4's Jackie Gillis has the story.
I spoke to an attorney who's representing Britton Parkway Holdings. He says in no way does the Noor Islamic Cultural Center want it to come to this point, but Noor leaders feel it was time they stood up for themselves.
We're here today at the U.S. Courthouse because the city of Hilliard, unfortunately, has closed its doors to the Muslim community.
To sum up this 128-page document, the Noor Islamic Center is suing Hilliard, claiming discrimination and violation of constitutional rights. Nearly a year ago, the Noor Islamic Center and Mosque invested millions of dollars to buy the former BMW Financial Building on Britton Parkway, a building that's been vacant for 2 years.
They want to rejuvenate a building in the city of Hilliard for both their benefit and the benefit of the residents of Hilliard. It's the most egregious example of overt discrimination in land use that I've seen in my over 25 years of practice. It's inexplicable.
Noor leaders say they have the vision to turn the 220,000 square foot building into a mixed-use facility. That plan was rejected by the Planning Commission. Attorney Joe Miller says the city has tried to obstruct this from happening at every turn.
What the Noor Islamic Cultural Center has proposed conforms in every way to the city of Hilliard zoning code, and yet they were still denied and still don't have the free use of their private property.
Back in November, after council members denied the proposal, they sent out a statement saying the city embraces diversity in the community. It goes on to say, in part, quote, Hilliard leaders negotiated diligently with Noor for the past 10 months and have worked hard to accommodate their evolving plans, including allowing up to 56,000 square feet for school and event space. These efforts to accommodate were rejected by the applicant. City Council member Les Carrier says that while this lawsuit doesn't come as a surprise, he feels that this is a failure on the city's part.
I've always been proud of Hilliard because we're unique. Look at Old Hilliard. I mean, there's no density down there in Old Hilliard, but we still have everyone coming there, and it's a destination, you know. And I think we just do it a little differently. And we could have with the Noor, we just chose not to. And I am concerned, you know, this attack on the religious piece of it. So it's very unfortunate.
While a court date has yet to be set, Miller says the mosque is seeking recovery of substantial damages as well as attorney fees. I did ask City Manager Michelle Crandall if she had any comment on this matter. Crandall says that while she wishes she could, she can't comment on pending litigation. Local Free.
Just like other places, like Dearborn, Michigan, they start a little small place like Ohio. Just like Dearborn. Y'all know what's going up there, people going up there in Dearborn, how they took over. And Minneapolis with the Somalian community and how it turned it around. And Hilliard is a really nice place. I shot video out there in Hilliard. It's a nice old, you know, just laid back town. And it's very diverse out there. And no, I think that the reason why I think they want to hold out that building because maybe they're trying to get some companies that come through there that might bring in a call center, or it could be some, you know, insurance agencies or something like that to bring jobs or technical center. That's probably what Hilliard were probably looking to do with that building and everything. But they want their own here, and there are parts of outside of Hilliard that these people have their own farm. These Muslims, they got. One time I tripped on the station. I don't know how I got the station, but they have literally they have their own farm. I don't know where it's located out there. It had to be out west somewhere. And there's parts of them that have mosque all over the place. I just don't understand what did it, you know, why can't they be happy with what they have? I mean, they have a big one in Dublin, way out on the outskirts of Dublin, and other places in Ohio. It's just that they, and no matter you go west to east, there's a mosque around. They have plenty of mosques here, and probably other centers, and they have businesses. So how is it that they being discriminating, and they probably getting grants and stuff like that from the state of Ohio and everything to get these buildings up and running, but yet, you know, I don't think Hilliard was discriminating. I think Hilliard wanted to bring it and make it used for something like that. That's what they want to offer to bring jobs in that area up there, but they want to reserve for their own. And just like it's coming here, but you see people in Ohio, like many places, they don't pay attention to stuff like this on the internet. They don't pay attention to the cultures that come over here. They don't see the bigger picture. They don't see what they people do overseas. They have no clue what's going on. Everybody think that they come here And some people come here with the right reasons, but you got some people that come here for the purpose. And clearly we see that. I don't understand. It's like, go to Dearborn, Michigan. I mean, there's plenty of your brothers and sisters up there in the faith. And speaking of Dearborn, Michigan, how come I saw this not too long ago? This is in Dearborn. It's the mayor, there's a Muslim mayor up there. How come in Dearborn they have a mall that's not looking good? They have a mall up there, ladies and gentlemen. If I can find that video, it's literally falling apart up there. It's like, how come they can't take the Muslim community up there and with all their businesses and stuff and fix up a mall? I mean, they practically got Dearborn locked down, literally. And I gotta show you this video, man. If I can find this video, I don't understand it. That they can, hey, and the Dearborn probably is a nice looking town up there. But if they want to invest in something like that. But it's just crazy. But we have a problem here. In Ohio, and I think they're unaware, like they are in these bigger cities, and they just don't know the whole story. I think they don't. They don't see the bigger picture. I mean, you have to protect. There's a reason why you have to kind of protect your own. I understand, but you have people here in Ohio is suffering and need housing and stuff, and then we don't. That's just the sapping. What about the people who probably want to get business loans and things? What about that? But you give it, but you make it way for them. And it's just that you can't accommodate everybody, man. That's just common sense. And sometimes if there's other places, but they just trying to. And it seemed like Islamic phobe the whole area. They get foot in the door. Check this out. Now this is in Dearborn, Michigan.
I love what I do, which is help people make the switch to consumer cellular.
All right, folks. Eddie Carrington, Mayor of Flux City, and today we have to talk about something that kind of hits close to home for us Southeast Michigan residents, folks who live in Dearborn, Detroit, Oak Park, Southfield, Allen Park, the surrounding neighborhoods. Fairlane Shopping Center has been a part of our lives for quite some time. I can recall as a teenager walking this mall and being in awe about the layout and how vast of a facility it is, how amazing the architect was within this facility. But it looks like, per Dearborn Public Records from the Wayne County Treasurer's Office, Fairlane Town Center is behind closer to $4 million with regard to unpaid property taxes. And so this is alleged, and I haven't confirmed this number myself, but if that is the case, that is a pretty big bill that this entity, this ownership, has to manage and deal with. And it wasn't long ago when they ran into a tax problem where they were behind roughly $1.2 million, and they were able to figure their way out of that. So let's have a bit more of a discussion on the importance and history of Fairlane Mall and why it matters. This isn't just some random strip mall. For decades, it was the mall that Dearborn and the surrounding communities went to pick up their Christmas gifts, new outfits, Jordans, perfume and cologne, food, you name it, right? This mall was everything for us as teenagers, this in Northland, because this was one of those malls that would have you in awe it had everything you needed. For me in particular, I'd go to Northland first because it was closer to me as an Oak Park resident at that time. But when they did not have what I was looking for, I couldn't wait to travel to Fairlane due to the fact that this mall was one of my favorites growing up. Hudson's, Lord & Taylor, JCPenney, and later Macy's. But for a long time, Fairlane was a social hub for many of us residents in this area. And a number of people that I know worked in stores at Fairlane, and just in general, a pretty big tax generator for the city of Dearborn proper. Now, with this landlord allegedly behind on their taxes, right, I think this signals a bigger issue that needs to be looked into a little bit more so in detail, right? This could mean that the asset is severely underperforming financially, which I would assume is the case. Malls are having a really, really hard time staying open. There are some malls that are anomalies, honestly. Somerset is one of those malls that when you go to Somerset, this place is booming. I've never seen malls as busy as a Somerset during the holidays in my life. No room to walk, no room to sit at the food court. This place is one of the busiest places that I've ever been, where other malls like Fairlane or Oakland Mall, you don't have that same energy. You don't have that same density that Somerset has been able to magically produce year over year. Another issue this owner may be running into is prioritizing their debt service over taxes, which is somewhat understandable. That's a bit of a strategy where, hey, look, if you don't pay your taxes in full, maybe you set up a payment plan. Maybe there is an opportunity for this developer to sell this site if they're able to get that lifeline of focusing on the debt service and eventually finding a potential buyer of this mall that could in turn come in and redevelop it due to the fact that this site is prime location. Honestly, this is a big chunk of land right next to the freeway. This is a property that eventually will get redeveloped into something greater. It's just not a matter of if, but when, and how much is it going to take in order to execute on that vision. But in general, when owners of large properties such as the Fairlane Shopping Center no longer pay their taxes or are slow to pay their taxes, it's often because the value of the property no longer supports the tax burden. So if that is the case, then this current owner may be looking to restructure their debt and potentially renegotiate their tax burden with the county. But let's get back to why malls are failing across the country, right? You have declining foot traffic due to your e-commerce options and lifestyle shifts. You can literally place an order on Amazon, and depending on where you're living and where you're located, you can have a drone deliver what you ordered within an hour or less. That is insane. Whereas 10, 15, 20 years ago, you didn't have that. 5 years ago, that wasn't even an option. Whereas in 2025 and forward, you're going to have the ability to not even have to leave your house for things that you are wanting to buy. But if you go to Fairlane, it may still look occupied, right? You still have stores operating. You have Foot Locker, you have H&M, you have Macy's, you have a number of businesses that are still doing business, but financially it could be hanging on by a thread. And that's what we're seeing here with Fairlane.
So how come the Muslim community can't put their money together and do something like this? They have, and it's like the ones that know, like they did in Hilliard, Ohio, and they get with the community up there, and that's what they have a lot of the people in the Muslim community have a lot of businesses. They got money, trust me. And, I figured that, hey, well, I mean, it's practically there anyway. They have a Muslim mayor, Muslim council. Why don't they, bring it up to par? I'm just saying, but just to give some idea, but and it be open all, and they can have the stores and the shops and whatever, and there you go. If one town don't, one area don't, you got another area. Maybe like me, the Mall of America up there in Minneapolis, from what I've heard, has changed. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope, share, like, and subscribe. Yeah, but this is what's going on. And with the protests with ICE here in Ohio, it's ridiculous. I mean, personally, I don't agree with Trump on a lot of things, but it makes sense. Certain things it makes sense. You have all these people that committed fraud with these funds and stuff like that, going throughout the country, and it's like they dragging their feet. But meanwhile, you have a lot of people here that's suffering, that need housing and other assistance. And I see it here personally in Columbus. I've been out throughout the whole city and in different places. I have took video of, different places and stuff, and parts of it. And you wonder why certain areas ain't coming up to par, or certain areas are lacking. They want Washington, D.C. and the federal money to come, but you don't want to cooperate with the federal government, which we desperately need here in Ohio, like other states. You want to protect some people that basically some of them came here illegally, then some of them came in with business. They shipped their money back to their homeland, possibly funnel money billions of dollars like they did in Minneapolis. Minneapolis is about to go bankrupt. And the state of Minnesota about to go bankrupt because of the governor up there. And you wonder why they're cracking down. And I can guarantee you, and how many people you see in your city that's going with people protesting, but why ain't nobody protesting about getting more housing and more services? And then you wonder why other people can't get the adequate housing, because when they lose their job or something, they can fall back on. People that paid into the system. Then when you try to go get real help, when you get laid off or fired from a job, you got these some guns. Anyway, don't want to make this video too long. Take care, like and subscribe. See you on the next video.